Before we start, just a quick reminder to hit that subscribe button. Only 2% are subscribed. At 1,000 subscribers, I'll be posting a special video. The doorbell rings and Ben mouths relax while gripping my wrist. I unlatch the chain and force a smile that feels brittle. Ready, he whispers, breath tight in my ear. I open the door and step back for impact. I'm Lena, 29, and the walk is already roaring. His mother sweeps in first and kisses the air. His father follows, nodding like a judge entering court. Ben hovers between us, half host and half shield. I lift the lid and steam surges up my face. His mother flinches as if the room hissed at her. "What is that for Christmas?" she asks, eyes narrowed. Ben scratches his neck and studies the floorboards. Dumplings line the platter and I set them down. She pokes one with her fork and tears the skin. Filling spills and she pushes the plate away. "Where is the turkey?" she asks, voice steady and sharp. Ben laughs once too quick, then pours wine in silence. I hold the spatula like a line I will not cross. "Dinner is Chinese tonight," I say, measured and clear. He meets my eyes and the message is duck. His father leans over the pot and inhales despite caution. "Bold choice for the holiday," his voice cuts the chatter. He looks for approval and finds none on my face. Bold means wrong when you expect surrender. Ben's sister lifts her phone and frames my hands. "Christmas remix," she murmurs, upper lip raised. Her nail taps the record icon like a metronome. I hear myself breathing and it sounds like thunder. I slide orange chicken onto a platter that feels heavy. His mother steps back like it might leap from the plate. We planned a traditional meal, her bracelets knocked together. Ben's lips press flat and he studies my burners. "Traditional how?" I ask while spooning sauce over the edges. She glances at the table as if the answer lives there. "Roast beef and salads and gravy," every word lands thudding. Ben coughs into a sleeve and misses my stare. He clinks his glass and tries a toast without a subject. The silence drags while rice ticks gently in the pot. He clears his throat and shrugs like a pinned insect. I feel the room tilt toward judgment and tests. His father lifts a fork and takes a charged bite. He chews, then nods once, then rests the fork down. Flavor is strong, his jaw works like a machine. Strong can mean brave or reckless, and I hear reckless. "Any sesame involved tonight?" his mother asks without blinking. Ben steps in front of the counter like a goalie. "We talked about limits," he says, eyes avoiding mine. Limits I apparently signed without reading, limits with teeth. I wipe my palms on a towel I suddenly hate. A tiny voice in me repeats, "Remember this moment." Ben squeezes my elbow and whispers, "Just roll with it." Roll sounds like fold and fold sounds like fail. I ladle mapo tofu that trembles under its own heat. His sister records my wrist as if catching proof. The camera light blinks and I feel boxed in. This meal turned into an exam without rules. A dumpling finally reaches his mother again and waits. She bites, pauses, and places the half back down. "Unexpected," she murmurs, then areas around her go quiet. Unexpected is how avalanches start, not how dinners end. Ben edges toward me with a practiced grin that slips. "Let's just enjoy, it's still family and food." He tries to laugh and finds no echo. My mouth curls around a question I will not swallow. His father asks for gravy out of habit and hope. I hold the ladle like a gavel and set it down. "No gravy tonight," I say, every syllable deliberate. The air tightens as if waiting for a verdict. Ben reaches for my shoulder and misses when I move. "We can adapt," he murmurs, eyes flicking to his mother. Adapt to what becomes the only question that matters. My answer will change more than tonight's menu. His mother reaches for my burner and twists the knob down. Too aggressive for a holiday, her bracelets clink against the metal. Ben plants his palm between us like a gentle barrier. I nudge his wrist away and let the flame hold. "Spices will upset your uncle later," she adjusts a placemat. "There is no uncle here," I answer, eyes on the pan. Ben coughs into a sleeve and studies the counter. Someone decided rules before I entered the room. His father inspects bottles like a customs officer on break. "Any seed oils hiding around?" he asks without looking up. I slide one dark bottle behind the rice bowl. His throat clears faintly and my pulse counts beats. The sister keeps filming while backing toward the doorway. "Followers want the menu reveal," she tilts her phone higher. Ben flashes teeth for the camera and announces surprises. I lower the heat one notch and keep my hands steady. Let's pivot toward simple tastes, he smooths his shirt. Order in if you feel tired, his mother opens a drawer. I cooked already, I say, voice even and clipped. Ordering now would confirm their quiet verdict. Ben claps softly and tries to reset the mood. Blind tasting, he grins at the three expectant faces. One bite each, then we vote favorites. I ladle noodles into small bowls and wait for impact. His mother hooks one strand with precise movements. She halves it with the edge of her fork. For the children and the family, she places it back. There are no children here, only conditions. His father takes a modest bite and pauses. Interesting, he murmurs, rubbing a spot on his neck. Water goes down fast and he sets the glass crooked. The tiny hitch in his breathing lands like a note. Ben leans close and drops new instructions in a whisper. No onions tonight, no chives either. Half my dishes rely on both and he knows it. I swap bowls and start pushing plain rice forward. Tradition matters, the sister narrates toward her followers. Some foods belong to other days. Her camera frames my face and waits for reaction. I keep my mouth closed and let the silence bite. His mother opens the oven and shuts it quickly. No frying, the smell lingers inside clothes. I switch to baking without breaking rhythm. Every change carves a piece off the menu. Ben arranges plates like a hotel banquet buffer. Buffet works for everyone, he says with forced cheer. His mother gathers cutlery and sets a formal line. I place bowls in the middle and refuse retreat. Grace comes unannounced and his father bows his head. He thanks the season and asks for wisdom tonight. The prayer ends and his eyes settle on me. I am suddenly measured by a ruler I never saw. First course should cleanse, his mother lifts a spoon. Clear broth or a crisp salad. I tilt the ladle and offer a lighter dish. Her mouth compresses and the spoon stays empty. Maybe one dish without heat, Ben brushes my shoulder. He avoids my gaze and stares at the stovetop. I pull a pan aside and hold back the spice. A thought forms and refuses to leave. The sister opens my fridge and rifles through shelves. Is there something classic for dessert? She hums. She finds a pie and claims plating rights. I let her take it and count that surrender. His father folds a napkin and watches my hands. Tell me about the sauce, he taps the table softly. Balanced and careful, I answer, tasting for calm. He nods once and reaches for another sip. A timer trills and I grab the tray with mitts. Spring rolls glisten and threaten to crack. Not those, his mother lifts a palm. I shift them aside and feel the room tighten. Ben tries to lighten the mood with a joke about luck. No one catches it and the words fall short. He clears his throat and checks his phone. I hear the faint buzz and expect worse. Family expects certain anchors on this day, his mother straightens a chair. I adjusted the plan earlier, Ben answers a little too fast. His father looks up at that and stops moving. Adjusted means I was not part of the steering. I set out greens with a clean sweep. Taste this and tell me honestly. His mother takes a careful bite and pauses again. Her eyes travel to the hidden bottle near the rice. Confirm no seeds tonight, she taps the table twice. Ben answers before air reaches my lungs. None at all, we agreed already. Agreed lands between us like a locked door. I feel heat rise that has nothing to do with cooking. Balance is possible, control is not. Every request narrows the path under my feet. Something crucial is still undisclosed and close. His father reaches for a small dumpling with caution. He hesitates, then chooses noodles instead. The choice feels intentional and unspoken. I mark it in my head and keep moving. Ben organizes tasting cards like a game host. We rate each course and share feedback later. The sister claps once for the broadcast. I start to understand this gathering was staged. His mother gestures at the empty gravy boat. Some things are non-negotiable. Ben nods as if the point is new. The word non-negotiable hangs like a sign over the table. I clear space and arrange dishes into 2 neat rows. One line safe for their rules and one line mine. Ben notices the split and blinks twice. He knows exactly why I drew that border. Let us be generous, his father lifts his glass. He toasts decency and family patience. He drinks and coughs once into his sleeve. Another tiny warning flickers and stays. The sister steps closer and captures my profile. Viewers are voting already, she grins at her screen. Half one classic, half one adventure. Ben's jaw tightens because he loves winning. I place a mild dish near his mother's seat. She tries it and sets the spoon down neatly. Acceptable, she says and reaches for water. Acceptable is not the point, and we both know it. Ben drops his voice low and close to my ear. Keep it calm and I'll handle the rest. My hands steady because I decide something. If there is a hidden line here, I will find it. His father leans back and studies the labels again. He points at the row I built for safety. Serve from that side for now. The yet in his tone chills me more than the words. I take one last look at the bottle I hid. Ben notices the glance and moves to block it. Let me plate the next course, he reaches confidently. I step aside and track every motion he makes. The tray lands on the table and spoons lift. I watch faces tighten and relax in waves. Feedback arrives as nods, not words. Then a single phrase slips out near his sister's mic. Remember, you promised no surprises tonight. It isn't meant for me because I never promised. Ben offers a quick smile that fails to reach his eyes. The promise he made is about to crack. I swap ladles fast and slide a plate toward his father. He forks a small piece and chews with practiced caution. A blink, then two, then his hand moves to his collar. Something goes wrong before anyone names it. Ben's smile drops and he reaches for water. His father coughs once, then again, then harder. A wheeze scrapes out and the chair legs jerk. I hear my own pulse hammering for a beat. Stop eating, my voice slices through the table noise. His mother freezes with her spoon halfway up. The sister lowers her phone like it just burned. Ben stares at the plate as if it might confess. Where is the injector? I'm already pulling drawers. His mother bolts upright and pats her coat. Pocket, she gasps and fumbles the lining. I grab it, rip the cap and kneel. Hold still, my hands find the spot through fabric. I press until the click jumps against my palm. Count at 10 while the room watches my mouth. He breathes in ragged bursts that finally stretch. Ben hovers empty-handed and keeps nodding. Breathe, Dad, he mutters to the floor. His mother grips the table edge and won't blink. I keep counting because math steadies panic. Air returns in pieces and then in longer pulls. His father sags back and points toward the sink. Call them, his mother whispers without looking at anyone. Ben's fingers fumble the screen like it is slick. I rinse my hands fast and scan the counter. Sauce bowls sit untouched on the safe side. The other side glints with a bottle I hid. My stomach drops while I map every step. Confirm ingredients, her voice cuts like a blade. Anything pressed from seeds today. Ben speaks over me with an eager rush. We avoided that, totally avoided that. I pick up the suspect bottle and hold it high. His mother flinches like I aimed it at her. The sister's camera rises again without a word. Ben's eyes dart to the label and back. Sirens thrum closer and bounce off the windows. He sits straighter and forces a calm expression. We got it under control, he tells no one specific. Control left 5 minutes ago and everyone knows it. Paramedics push in and take the room's rhythm. They check pulse and lungs and ask rapid questions. I answer clearly and keep my voice level. Ben nods but offers nothing useful. They lift him gently and wheel toward the hallway. His mother follows fast and doesn't look back. The sister hustles behind while filming in short bursts. Ben lingers by the door with his jaw tight. Ride with them, I hold his coat out. He hesitates and glances at the spread like it matters. Go, I say and step into his line of sight. He finally moves and disappears down the hall. Silence lands like a mess that needs cleaning. I set the injector on the counter and breathe once. The bottle sits beside it like a loaded answer. I don't touch either while I steady my thoughts. He returns alone after minutes that bend. They'll update us soon, he says to the floor. I wait until that flimsy sentence dissolves. Who promised no surprises? He blinks and tries a practice shrug. Family gets anxious with new things. My laugh comes out short and sharp. New things didn't cause a blocked airway. Did you tell me everything important? He looks past me and starts rearranging forks. I move in front of him and don't budge. Say it clearly or I call her myself. His shoulders drop and something cracks open. They hate confrontation, he whispers with a bitter smile. I thought we could avoid drama if I guided it. Guided means concealed, and now we are here. What exactly did you hide? He swallows, then drags one finger along the counter. Seeds are a no-go when Dad eats with us. The words land like a door closing. I point to the bottle and keep my tone flat. This was in the kitchen from the start. He shrugs and watches my hand instead of my face. I figured you knew to skip it. I breathe once because anger can blur decisions. You figured, so you never said anything. He shakes his head and tries a softer approach. I didn't want to micromanage your cooking. I step back and watch the night reshape itself. I see the testing, the stage tasting, the promise. I see who he was hosting and who stood alone. I decide this meal changes more than a menu. His phone buzzes and he glances with relief. Stable, he reads with a shaky exhale. Good news cools the room by a degree. It does nothing for what he kept quiet. Call her again and tell her everything. He opens his mouth and closes it once. She already blames you, he murmurs finally. I laugh once because the worst part is predictable. No more curated versions. I push the phone back. Tell her you set the rules and hid them. He stares at the bottle like it grew teeth. He dials while sweat beads along his hairline. His mother answers and he starts with spin. I raise a hand and he pauses mid-sentence. Say the part about the promise, I prompt. He swallows and repeats it into the phone. I listen to muffled outrage crackle through the speaker. Ben wilts and presses the phone to his chest. She wants me to stay away from your food, he mutters. I smile without joy because that line cuts both ways. Here is what happens next, my voice goes calm. We clear every dish that breaks their rules. We keep the ones I served first. He stares at me like I changed languages. Then we decide whether we host them again. He laughs once and it dies in the air. I begin stacking plates with a steady rhythm. The clatter feels like a verdict being typed. He moves to help and I step aside. I am done shielding anyone from their choices. He scrapes leftovers into a bin and breathes shallow. I hold the bottle up one last time between us. This stays out today, I set it down hard. He nods because the argument is spent. He doesn't meet my eyes and that tells plenty. What comes after this dinner will not be gentle. I strip the table fast and stack plates in 2 towers. Ben hovers near the sink and keeps checking his screen. An update pings and he exhales through his nose. I wait for words that matter and get none. Stable for now, he wipes his palms on a towel. He's under observation and getting more treatment. Good news lands, then the silence hardens around it. We are not past the real problem yet. His mother calls before the next breath finishes. He turns away and pitches his voice low. I hear fragments about responsibility and broken boundaries. Then my name lands like a gavel and sticks. Put me on speaker, I stand by the counter. He hesitates and darts a look toward the doorway. Speaker, I repeat and hold out my hand. He taps the screen and sets it down. You hosted and you ignored instructions, her tone cuts clean. You brought risk into our house on a holy day. I grip the edge and keep my voice level. What instructions and when were they given? He knows the list, she breathes hard between phrases. We reviewed everything this morning and he agreed. I meet Ben's eyes and see the flinch. So the agreement happened without me again. Were you informed before I cooked anything? Silence, only the faint hospital hum answers. Ben rubs his eyebrow and studies the floorboards. He lets the quiet do what he will not. I asked him to manage it, she admits after a beat. He prefers to avoid fights at celebrations. My jaw tightens, then I choose my next line. His choice almost became a headline tonight. She inhales like she wants to argue, then stops. You should not have used unfamiliar ingredients. I stare at the capped container near the sink. It never touched the safe plates, I answer. Intent does not erase danger, her voice skims close. We host with rules for a reason. Ben nods along like a metronome he can't switch off. I break the rhythm with one clear sentence. Next time your rules start with me. No one speaks for 3 seconds that feel long. Understood, she says finally, stiff but audible. Your food looked careful until the last course. The call ends and the room releases a breath. Ben paces once and touches the counter lightly. Thank you for staying calm, he whispers toward the sink. Calm is not forgiveness and he knows it. I open the trash and scrape leftovers without fuss. He flinches when the noodles slide into the bin. They would have eaten some later, he tries a smile. Not from my kitchen without clarity again. His sister's feed starts buzzing across the table. Comments roll fast and split into 2 loud camps. Turn it off, I say before he reaches for it. We do not need a jury tonight. Another notification shakes his hand until he answers. Hospital wants fresh clothes and insurance details. I'll drive now, he mutters and grabs his keys. I step in front of him and hold out the folder. Use mine for the forms, it's faster. He blinks at the gesture like it's a trick. I'm not punishing the man who needed help. I pause, then give the point he keeps dodging. I am punishing the lie by not repeating it. He goes still and swallows once. Can we deal with what happens after tomorrow? I nod, but the nod carries conditions. We move to the entry and he reaches for my hand. I let him touch my knuckles and then pull back. Tell them the whole sequence when you arrive. He winces because he knows I will verify. He leaves and the latch clicks like a small verdict. I clean the workspace and pack the saved dishes. Every motion calms me and sharpens my plan. This night will not be rewritten by anyone else. When he returns, his face looks older around the mouth. They asked what triggered it and I told them. I raise an eyebrow and keep my tone bland. All of it or the parts that suit you? All. He sets his keys down and doesn't look up. She listened and then asked me a question. He falters and finds courage against the cabinet edge. She wanted to know why I framed dinner as a trial. The word lands and reorganizes the whole evening. I lean back and feel my spine lock. So this was performance art for your approval. He sags because there is no clean exit now. I wanted to see how you handle my family. He meets my eyes and braces for recoil. They judge quickly, so I built guardrails. Guardrails that turned into traps without warning. You staged a challenge and hid the rules. He nods once, like anything else would be cowardice. I thought you would shine under pressure. I laugh and there is no humor in it. You wanted a highlight reel and got a medical chart. He closes his eyes like it stings. I know I broke trust. That is the smallest part, I answer. I take a breath and adjust the last container. We reset with honesty or we stop here. The choice hangs and neither of us moves. He finally nods and reaches for his phone again. Group chat, he murmurs and opens a new thread. He types a clear account with names and times. He confirms the agreement he made without me. He owns the result without deflecting. Replies flood in with heat and blame. Some land on me and some land on him. I read each one and keep my face blank. Then a short message appears from the hospital room. Thank you for acting fast, it is from the patient. I sit down because relief arrives with that line. Ben's shoulders drop when he reads it too. Gratitude does not fix us, but it steadies the ground. We need a plan for holidays going forward. My voice stays cool and precise. Menus get written together and sent in advance. Any limits arrive in writing, not whispers. He nods and looks like he wants to hug me. I step back because we are not there yet. Tomorrow we bring plain soup and an apology. We start there and see if anything grows. He swallows and wipes his face with his sleeve. I'll cancel my sister's post tonight. Archive it and post the correction instead. Leave the comments open, I add for consequence. We finish packing in a steady rhythm that feels new. No guessing, no secret agreements hiding under the table. He labels containers while I draft a simple message. We both read it twice and sign our names. When the house finally quiets, I stand by the doorway. Tomorrow we'll decide whether this can be repaired. I will not walk in blind again. If I smell spin, I walk out without looking back. I carry the soup and Ben carries the apology. The elevator doors open and his mother waits like a checkpoint. Only one of you goes in first, her arms fold tight. I angle past her without breaking pace and she follows. A nurse waves us toward the room and checks the chart. Short visit and calm voices, she points at a clock. Ben nods and I place the container on a tray. I breathe once and step through the doorway prepared. He sits up straighter when he sees us. Good timing, he rasps and gestures at the water. I set it within reach and watch his hands steady. Relief pulses, but the talk still waits. Thank you for acting fast, he studies my face. I nod once and keep my stance squared. We brought something mild and clear, I lift the lid. He smiles with effort and then glances at Ben. Everyone's safe now, Ben whispers with careful brightness. His father's gaze hardens by a notch. What worried me wasn't the taste, he answers slowly. It was the secret and who carried it. The word lands and Ben shifts his weight. His mother stands near the footboard like a sentinel. This is not the place for blame, she warns softly. He lifts a finger and she falls quiet at once. I want details while memory's fresh, his voice firms. I recount the sequence clearly and stop at the bottle. Ben's jaw flexes and then stills in the harsh silence. No one rescues him, and that is new. I asked him to handle rules, she finally admits. I aim to keep conflict out of the holiday. He stares at the ceiling and exhales a slow line. Conflict moved in anyway, wearing polite clothes. Ben rubs his eyebrow and looks almost smaller. I try to ease everyone into change. I place the apology on the bedside tray. Change does not require traps, I answer flatly. The nurse returns and shuffles machines efficiently. 5 more minutes, she says and checks a monitor. His father nods and then narrows his eyes at Ben. Read what you posted, after she insisted. Ben unlocks his phone and opens the thread. He reads the full account without trimming anything. He reads the part where he agreed without me. He finishes and his hand shakes a fraction. His sister slips in quietly and stays near the wall. She flicks her screen off and tucks it away. No filming here, I say, and she doesn't argue. Her eyes drift to her father and hold there. Apology accepted for the effort, not the harm. His father sips and clears remnant tightness from his chest. Repair starts with rules we all witness. He looks at me like I get to define them. Menus are shared a week ahead, I lift a notepad. All limits in writing with sources if needed. Nothing hidden and nothing sprung at the table. I pause, then add the one that matters most. Any health constraint goes first and goes bold. He nods like that unlocked a stubborn bolt. Add this, he murmurs, no live broadcasts while eating. The sister winces and then gives a small nod. The nurse returns and taps the watch once. We gather our things and step into the hallway. His mother lingers and then whispers toward me. You're firm when it counts, she says, almost surprised. The elevator doors close and Ben stares at his shoes. I need to ask one more thing, my voice stays even. Are you prepared to own this at the larger dinner? He flinches because tradition is an audience he fears. Do it once and do it clean, I continue. No blame passed and no clever framing. He meets my eyes and tries to hold them. Tell me the line you will speak. He clears his throat and starts outlining a sentence. He trims it again until there is no spin left. I hid constraints and almost caused harm. I asked her to serve while I concealed rules. Good, I press the elevator button and wait. One more line, I add without mercy. I staged a challenge and called it hospitality. He nods because there is nowhere else to stand. We drive to his parents' place with the soup. He grips the wheel and keeps glancing sideways. You can still back out tonight, he tries gently. I won't, I answer and watch his face change. We walk in and the extended family sits clustered. Conversations dim when they recognize our arrival. His sister clears space at the center chairs. I set the container down and fold my hands. Ben takes a breath and steps forward 2 paces. He delivers the sentence we shaped without missing a word. He does not hedge and he does not soften it. The room absorbs the weight and waits for the echo. An aunt asks whether I knew the restrictions. No, I answer and keep my tone plain. I would have cooked differently with full information. Simple truth lands better than a plea. A cousin mutters about online comments from earlier. The sister lifts her chin and offers the correction. I archived the clip and posted the facts. She holds my stare and doesn't blink. His mother places bowls in a line near the table. Soup first and then a pause. I ladle portions and pass them across quietly. Hands open and no one looks at a camera. His father calls from upstairs on the family speaker. He thanks the room for quick help and patience. He asks them to honor the new structure at meals. Then he adds a final note with real weight. Do not test people without consent, the line rings. I hear my heart slow down for the first time. Ben closes his eyes like someone turned off a siren. The room exhales, but the work is not finished. After bowls empty, the conversations start again carefully. People bring up schedules and rides and leftovers. I drift toward the kitchen with stacked dishes. Ben follows and we stand side by side. I want to ask something for us, he leans in. Not about today and not about my family. My shoulders tense because the timing feels wrong. He gets it and stops himself mid-reach. Later, he says and steps back respectfully. I rinse a ladle and hand him a towel. Earn later, I say, and his face tightens. He nods and takes the stack without protest. His mother approaches and lowers he. Our voice, We will adjust our gatherings with your format. She taps the notepad I set near the fridge. Send the first menu when you're ready. The sister returns with 2 envelopes for the table. Donations went to the emergency team tonight. She places the receipts where everyone can see them. She doesn't film the moment, and that matters. We leave as the group settles into calmer talk. Ben holds the door and waits for me to step through. Outside, cold air clears the last fog from my head. I stop on the path because the truth needs room. I'm not moving past this without accountability at home. Your home and our home are different fronts. No more trials dressed as parties. No more guiding by hiding. He nods and folds his hands around the keys. I will book counseling tomorrow morning. Individual first and then together if you want. He puts the keys away and meets my eyes. Good start, I answer and check my phone. A message from upstairs flashes with a short line. Come by tomorrow and help me taste a safe dish. The invitation feels like a cautious bridge. Ben watches me read and tries to read me too. I'll drive you there and wait outside if needed. He opens the car and doesn't speak again. Silence finally works like respect instead of punishment. Back at our place, I lay out the revised plan. He takes notes and asks short clarifying questions. We schedule when to send the written list. We add reminders so nothing slips to memory. When the clock hits midnight, he reaches for the couch. He grabs a blanket and hesitates, then lies down. He chooses distance without being told to move. The small choice lands like proof of change. I stand in the doorway and hold the last word. Tomorrow begins with transparency and a kitchen timer. Every task spoken out loud before we start. If you whisper, I walk. He nods again and stares at the ceiling. I turn off the light and leave a hallway lamp. Not for comfort, but to mark boundaries clearly. Lines matter, and I have the pen now. I start the timer and speak each task aloud. Wash hands, open stock, skim foam. Ben repeats after me like a trainee under audit. If he mumbles once, I stop until he resets. We drive before noon and park near the entrance. He turns off the engine and checks his notes again. Short sentences only, he reminds himself under breath. I nod and open the door fast. Upstairs, he waits by the benches and stays quiet. I carry the container through the ward checkpoint. A nurse verifies the printed sheet clipped to the lid. No one asks for interpretation because everything is clear. He watches me from the hallway through the glass. His eyes keep moving, never touching mine long. He fears an unguarded word more than silence now. Good, because words built this mess. Inside, the patient waves me closer and points. Let's test tiny portions. His voice sounds steadier today. I set out spoons and show the checklist. We work in measured beats and wait between bites. He gives a thumbs up after the third pause. Nothing tingles, he reports, tapping his chest lightly. I log the response and highlight the time. Relief warms, but I keep the pace strict. Teach me how to cook this, he requests softly. Start to finish and no improvising. I hand him the notepad and direct each motion. He follows orders like a man who learned consequence. The door opens and his wife steps inside. She carries a printout with bold headings. New standards for gatherings, she says without drama. She lays it down and waits for a response. He reads each line and traces the margins. He does not argue or hedge any clause. When he reaches the final bullet, he nods. Approved, he says and signs his name. She turns to me and raises an eyebrow. Would you co-own this list going forward? Only if transparency stays non-negotiable, I answer. She meets my stare and whispers, it will. We leave the room and find Ben standing. He pockets his phone and straightens his posture. How did it go? He asks with careful tone. Measured, documented, acceptable, I answer, then hold his gaze. He exhales and offers his keys. You drive back, I want both hands free. He folds a brochure and slides it into his jacket. I don't ask which counselor he picked yet. On the ride home, he breaks the quiet first. I canceled the game night at our place. No events until we build new habits. I accept the adjustment without praise. We stop at the market for staples and leave quickly. He reads every label and spells ingredients aloud. I watch the diligence and wait for it to slip. It doesn't, which surprises me more than I like. At home, he sets the clock on 3 hours. Work session, he announces, standing straighter. Review boundaries and practice clear requests. I nod because rehearsal matters more than vows. We start with tiny drills that feel childish. He states a need in 10 words or fewer. I mirror back and infirm what will happen. We repeat until my body stops bracing. Then I bring the harder question onto the table. What did you try to prove with that dinner? He folds his arms, then unfurls them quickly. I wanted admiration that didn't require courage. I sit with the line until it cools. Courage is telling the truth before it hurts. He swallows and stares at the timer blinking down. He knows this is the price of staying. The bell rings and we take a short break. He walks to the window and flexes his hands. Part of me enjoys control too much. He looks over and waits for impact. Then you design structures that prevent abuse, I answer. Because unchecked control becomes cruelty. He nods once and writes the sentence down. He underlines the last word twice. The timer restarts and we shift to logistics. He schedules weekly updates with his relatives. He blocks recording at meals without explicit consent. He drafts a script for pushback that does not blame. I make tea and set 2 mugs down. He waits until I sip before touching his. Do you still want us? He asks quietly. The room tightens because the word us holds weight. I want us if you stop auditions, I say. No secret scoring and no public theater. He flinches like the terms sting but make sense. Understood, he whispers, fingers pressed together. I walk to the cabinet and pull the recipe binder. We build a shared section labeled for family events. He inputs the safe list and cross-references it. He names the file with today's date and initials. His phone buzzes with a new message. It's from his sister and reads 3 sentences. I posted the correction live, comments unlocked, no edits. He shows me without commentary and waits. Good, I reply and hold out my hand. He places the device in my palm without delay. I scan our feed and confirm the change. She pinned the apology above the older clip. A knock interrupts and we both freeze. His mother stands outside holding a paper bag. She steps in when I open the door fully. I came to return something, she says, eyes tired. She sets a bracelet on the counter and pauses. Gift for you, given in anger yesterday. I was wrong to throw it, she murmurs low. I look at Ben because this is his cue. He clears his throat and draws closer. You don't give gifts to erase discomfort. You say you're sorry and you repair. Her mouth tightens then softens with effort. I'm sorry for speaking over your kitchen, she says. I'm sorry for acting like you were temporary. The room holds steady while she waits. I let the apology sit before answering. I accept the apology for today, I tell her. Future acceptance depends on behavior, not words. She nods once and presses the bag toward me. Inside lies a simple thank you card unsigned. She glances at the binder on the table. May I add 1 note to your system? Add it on the next page, I say evenly. She writes a single sentence and slides it back. We read it at the same time and pause. Emergency tools stored within reach for all gatherings. It is practical and unadorned and correct. I initial the line and close the binder with care. She leaves and the door clicks behind her. Ben sags then stands tall like he caught himself. Do we go back tomorrow for another tasting? We do, I answer and watch his shoulders loosen. Evening creeps but we keep working the checklist. He runs a final review of the holiday timeline. Every responsibility sits next to a name. No more mystery tasks drifting to me alone. I cook a small batch using the agreed template. He times each step out loud without rushing. We plate, then we sit, then we breathe. It tastes plain and honest and safe. He looks at me like he wants to ask again. Not yet, I say, cutting off the impulse. Questions about us wait until the system holds. He nods because he hears the order inside it. The next morning we drive with the labeled container. The nurse waves us through with a quick smile. He stands aside while I set everything up. We begin the same deliberate routine as yesterday. This time the patient eats without checking the monitor. Trust returns in clicks, not leaps, he says softly. We all hear what that means beyond food. Ben stays very still and lets the line land. Afterward he hands me a folded sheet. Bring this home, he says, pointing at a signature strip. It is a release form for the new protocol. It includes a space for 2 household leads. I sign first and then pass the pen. Ben signs and looks surprised by his own steadiness. He no longer chases charm, he chases proof. We both recognize how different that feels. On the way out, the sister steps from the elevator. She holds a tote with cards and schedules. I'm on logistics now, she announces, chin lifted. Video stays off at family tables from here on. I nod and keep walking until we reach the bench. Ben sits and laces his fingers together tightly. I bow. Book the appointment, he says, finally naming it. Tomorrow at 9 and then weekly after that. What do you want me to do during it? Wait in the lobby or take a walk? Either way, I will update you after. He looks scared and still committed. Text one sentence when you finish, I instruct. Only what you learned, no performance. He nods, then adds something I did not expect. I want to do better even if we don't stay. I stare because honesty without bargaining is new. He does not reach for my hand this time. He lets the possibility of loss exist openly. My chest loosens and a decision forms. We stay for now under strict terms, I say. No hidden expectations or surprise evaluations. Consent before challenges, consent before showcases. He repeats each clause as if memorizing a code. We stop at a crosswalk and wait in the cold. Cars pass and I think about kitchens and vows. I think about how fast a lie can bloom. Then I picture a table without ambush. Back home, I pull 2 suitcases from the closet. He watches in silence and nods like he deserves this. Trial separation, I state, keeping my tone steady. Same city, separate keys, same plan for the family. He swallows and does not argue a single inch. I will move to the guest place by evening, he answers. I will keep the counseling schedule and share notes. He waits for my next instruction like a student ready. I give him a list of charges to transfer. Utilities, groceries, the hospital donation share. He opens his banking app and completes them while I watch. He shows each confirmation without flinching. We pack in quick bursts and avoid nostalgia traps. No keepsakes, no photos, no pauses for history. This is not about mourning, it is about repair. Repair needs space and daylight. At the door, he stops and checks his pockets. He sets 1 spare key on the table. I'll ring before pickup or drop off, he offers. Always with a summary of purpose. Good, I say and point at the binder. Send the finalized plan to your family tonight. Copy me and invite edits within 24 hours. He nods and grips the handle tighter. He steps into the hallway and faces me square. Thank you for saving my father, he says. Thank you for not protecting my ego. He leaves before I can answer, which is right. I sit alone and breathe until the adrenaline fades. I open the binder and mark today's date. Then I write 4 words in heavy letters. No exams, only agreements, always. The phone buzzes with a new message ping. It's from the patient with a simple request. Bring the recipe tomorrow and stay for lunch. I read it twice and feel something unclench. I reply with a short line and no emoji. Will arrive on time with checklist. I place the phone face down and close my eyes. The kitchen stays quiet like a contract held firm. Ben texts exactly 1 sentence from the driveway. Moved out and heading to appointment now. No filler, no self-praise, just status. I answer with a single period and nothing else. Evening arrives and the inbox fills with replies. His relatives vote to adopt the protocol unanimously. The sister pins the document to the family channel. No one adds a joke and that is progress. I stand by the stove and wait out the timer. I speak the steps aloud to an empty room. My voice sounds strong enough to carry alone. It might need to for a while. When the alarm beeps, I turn the knob off. I set the ladle down and glance at the door. No footsteps, no surveillance, no scorecards tonight. Only the work I choose to do. I wash the last dish and dry my hands. I lock the front latch and take 1 long breath. This chapter ends without applause by design. Tomorrow starts with consent or it doesn't start at all.